Today we're taking a look at a brand that I have featured on my second channel, Watch Chris News. I will put a link to that channel down in the description below. Please subscribe if you have not. I do dedicated reviews and giveaways on that channel. Now, normally I would feature this watch on that channel. However, I decided to do a review here on my main channel because I found this watch to be really nice for the price. This is a BERNY dive watch. It's very substantial and, considering the price, really well made. So let's flip the camera and take a look at an automatic dive watch that is very affordable and really substantial from BERNY. This is a very substantial watch in your hands. Not only is the case very heavy, but the bracelet is very, very heavy as well. Look how thick the bracelet is on this watch. Now, this is an homage. It's actually an homage to a very obscure watch that came out and I believe sold out a very long time ago. That is the Halios Holotype. And that was a 300-meter chunky dive watch just like this. So essentially, this is a direct homage to that watch. You can't buy that watch anymore, so I guess they came out with this as an answer to that for people who want one. This actually has the exact same movement, the 8215 from Miyota, so that means it does hack. So this actually does hack, and it is an 8 series Miyota movement. You can see a very big chunky case on here and a very big and chunky bracelet. Very heavy watch in your hands, very substantial. This is a 44mm watch, so essentially at the case you're getting 44mm almost spot on, and then the thickness on here is just about 16mm thick. You have a giant crown on here of 7.8mm. The lug to lug is also very big because of the style of bracelet on here. So it's 45.5, which is not huge at all actually for a 44mm watch, but with the effective lug to lug, and those links do sort of go out directly, it's 57mm. So you can wear this on a strap, and I would recommend that if you want to wear this and you have a smaller wrist. But the bracelet is really very substantial, so it's something that I would get along with this watch because it would be nice to have. The bezel is very, very solid as well. Let's listen to the bezel action. It is grippy, it sounds good, it's very solid and very precise, especially considering that this is a $199 watch. I think that they got the specs right and the feeling right on this watch. Obviously, it is an homage and a direct homage, as I mentioned. So obviously they've copied that watch design-wise, but they got it right and they actually made it very well as well. So let's listen to the bezel action. So the bezel isn't very loud, but the clicks are very precise and it is very, very tight, but it's very grippy. So I'm actually able to turn it very easily and you can see it lines up. Also, I have very dry hands, so since it's very grippy, very easy to use. Really nice bezel. There's no wobble in it at all. Very impressed. You have a glossy black dial, painted on indices. Those are filled with Loom. Very big sword style hands, and you have Loom in those. The minute's hand is in an orange color. The center of both of the hands, the hour and minute, are in black. Then you have a lollipop second hand that is sort of a rectangular lollipop, and that is also Loom, so sort of matches the indices. The indices, again, very, very directly homaging the Halios Holotype, so it looks a lot like that original dive watch. Hands, everything. It says 300 meters of water resistance. It also says BERNY right there. At the bottom of the dial, it says automatic. Very chunky watch. I cannot say that enough. Let me throw it on my wrist so you guys can see what I am talking about, and then we will do a quick Loom shot because the Loom on here actually pretty good for this size watch. Also, let me talk about the bracelet very quickly before we do that Loom shot. The only difference between the bracelet on here and that original Halios is that the Halios had screwed links. This one has friction pins. You do get screwed bars. You don't have pins in here. So this is actually a screwed bar that goes through the lugs. So changing straps is pretty easy. All you do is use a screwdriver. You don't have spring bars, which is great. Then the buckle is almost identical to what you got on the Halios, but the Halios had a pressed area that is the diver's extension. This actually does not have a diver's extension, so that would just pop out here. Very similar to what you get from Seiko. I've seen this from a bunch of different brands, but the clasp itself was almost identical. Of course, that one was signed. This one is not. 3 positions of micro adjust. Again, very similar to that original watch. Solid end links, obviously. They are straight links, and you could see that from the back here. The case back on here, a little bit different as well. There's a little bit of polishing on this case back, whereas the original Halios did not have that. So you have polishing and then some bead blasting in the middle, just as BERNY, and then the number of the watch, automatic, and all that good stuff. 300 meters of water resistance. You do have a screwed in case back and a screwed in crown. Everything feels very nice on the watch. Of course, it is $199, so I have to say I'm pretty impressed at the quality that you're getting for the price. You also have a date at the 3 o'clock that sort of replaces the index at 3 o'clock, and I'll just move the minute hand so you can see what I'm talking about. It's right there. It actually creates pretty good balance and works pretty well. So screwing in the crown again. Let me show you what I have on my wrist, and then we will do a quick loom shot. I actually should measure the bracelet. I think it's around 24 millimeters, but I'll do that in just a second. I have another BERNY on, so they actually sent me a few watches to review. This one will be reviewed on my second channel, which is called Drive and Dive. I've changed the name too many times now, but I will put a link down in the description if you are interested. You want to see this watch. This is an homage to a JLC. It's cheaper than this watch, I believe. This one is $199. I don't know what the price is on this one. I think it's around $100, but I'm not entirely sure. The one that I reviewed last was also a dual crown setup. That was $90. I reviewed that one on my other channel, and I thought that was a phenomenal deal for what you were getting. This is 200 meters of water resistance. You have an inner rotating bezel, and it's an homage to the JLC pull router, and I think it looks great. They did a great job on this, and it is also powered by that Miyota movement, so you get that Miyota 8215, so it is hacking and hand winding. So all things considered, they're using the right movement. It's sort of like an NH35 alternative. But you can see this doesn't wear enormous on my 7.5 inch wrist. This is a 44 millimeter watch, but because you have that really short lug span and those end links really don't bother my wrist at all, it wears very nicely on my 7.5 inch wrist. I don't have it sized for my 7.5 inch wrist, but it looks really good. The only complaint that I would have about this watch and its design is the bracelet that does not taper, but this is actually, carried over from that original design, from that Halios. So that's why they didn't taper the bracelet on here. So I understand the design. I'm just not a huge fan of that. I would wear this on a strap because I think it would look and fit better, in my opinion. But that's, my opinion. I think all in all, I think they did a really good job creating this watch and doing it justice, doing the original justice, because that Halios is actually a pretty nice watch. They make pretty good watches, and this is actually pretty damn chunky. But I think this is probably a 24 millimeter lug span, but let me double check that. I would imagine that's where this is, in that ballpark. Yeah, so it's 23.6, somewhere around there. It's probably a 24 millimeter lug span. So you could definitely get straps for this, which would be pretty easy. $199. Let's quickly do a loom shot. There you go. Those hands are very large and liberally applied with loom. The indices, which are painted onto the dial, also pretty liberally applied with loom. Then you have that giant triangle on the bezel, very liberally applied with loom, and then you have a little lollipop on that second hand that is filled with loom, so you could see the watch is working in the dark. Pretty impressive for $199. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this watch? What do you think of BERNY, the brand? This is the second watch that I have featured on one of my channels. I have 2 more to show you guys, and so far, I'm actually very impressed with them and the overall quality of their watches, especially considering the price point. I mean, some of their watches are around $90, and you're getting some really incredible specs and pretty good loom with that. Loom is very expensive, as I have mentioned, and you can see this is actually hanging on pretty well. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.